ACB logo appears. Logo fades to black. Letters appear on screen. ADA at 30. Chef Thom.
Because of the ADA, a low-vision resident of a nursing home can demand a large print meal or activity schedule. Because of the ADA, I, as a blind person, can demand a Braille or other formatted credit card statement or utility bill so that I can keep up with my own billing without having to have somebody else read it.
Reem Hamodi.
So as a person who's totally blind, I came from Iraq to the United States, and I've been here for almost 10 years. In my country, we don't have any support services for students who have disabilities in general. And so, like I had to rely on my mom to record all of the materials for me. I wasn't aware that there's any support services. And when I came here, I went to community college and they told me that there, you could receive services. And I was like, what services are you talking about? I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware about the ADA and the support services that people with disabilities can receive from the ADA.
Mitch Pomerantz.
In 1974, when I first applied to work for the city of Los Angeles, it took me over a year to even be tested, because at the time there was a requirement that all applicants, regardless of what position they were applying for, had to have a driver's license. Well, for obvious reasons, I didn't. Skip ahead 20 years, I'm the ADA compliance officer for the city of Los Angeles, and I'm overseeing a fund of money to provide accommodations to city employees with disabilities. Government entities have come a long way insofar as providing the kinds of accommodations we need to get materials in accessible formats, to attend meetings with assistance. So I think again that we have come a long way, but that isn't to say that we still don't have a long way to go, because we really still have. And it's going to take the next generation or next two generations to really push that envelope, make sure we have the kind of full and equal access which the ADA guaranteed we'd get 30 years ago.
Minh.
I was born in Vietnam originally, and I lost my sight at the age of 7, and my mom knew right away that there would be more opportunities for me as a blind person and as a student growing up in the US than there would be in Vietnam. So when I was 8, my mom moved my family to the US, and even though she didn't know about the ADA at the time, just the fact that we were here, I was able to academically excel with my peers. I was able to go to public school and had all the materials that I needed in Braille and electronic formats, and going through school and then going off to college and being able to succeed there. And I think my generation with the ADA, we have been afforded so many opportunities in the workplace, in educational settings, and in our personal lives and leisure lives.
I'm originally from
Kristic.
Bosnia, where both the enforcement mechanisms and level of awareness of comparable disability laws aren't as high. And so because of the ADA and its associated enforcement and awareness levels here, I'm able to successfully perform my job, since the ADA requires that my employer provide me reasonable accommodations, such as the use of a screen reader and Braille display with a computer. I'm also able to take my guide dog with me to work, not only to work, but to all kinds of public places because of the ADA, such as grocery stores and restaurants, and on various forms of public transportation. When I'm on the bus, I'm able to know with greater certainty where I am, because the ADA mandates announcements of upcoming stops on buses and subways. And when I get to a building, I'm able, because of the ADA, to know where I am more confidently because of the Braille signage that it requires on elevators and next to room numbers.
Gabriel Lopez.
I've always been visually impaired with a hereditary degenerative condition of the retina called RP. Living back in Honduras, I had to struggle all my life because there was no legislation that would cover me and cover my situation as a person with a disability. I was able to graduate successfully. I went through law school, but it was always under the assumption that people would be kind and read for me, and there was the support of my family. So that's when I decided to move to the US, seeking for better opportunities and better options for me as a person with a disability. And one of the first things that I encountered was the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, which was like a dream come true. It was a life change. It was a game changer for me. First going through school as a student with a disability, then as a potential employee when I was seeking for employment, and just in general, traveling, moving around, living, and all the aspects that the ADA covers, basically all the aspects of life. Now a guide dog user, me and my guide dog Posh can travel confidently everywhere as a guide dog team, knowing that there is a piece of legislation, a framework that protects my rights as a person with a disability and as a guide dog user. So being a proud naturalized citizen of this great nation, one of the legislations that I truly value and that I always keep in my mind and in my heart is the ADA, because of the way it allows me to successfully live as a person and as a professional in this country.
Yes, because of the ADA,
Michael and Peggy Garrett.
I think we've reached sort of a milestone. It's sort of a calling card, and I say that because we haven't reached total fulfillment of the ADA. It has brought us to a point where we are recognized. It's a point of recognition, but not fully. We have the ability to go into workplaces, to have accessible accommodations, but it presents us an opportunity to try to meet our needs as people with disabilities, and especially those of us who are blind and vision impaired. We have hopes and dreams, but we also need to be able to fulfill those just like everybody else. I often ask the question, why is it that we have to advocate for hopes and dreams that are obvious to other people?
So, as my husband said, because we are blind living in a sighted world, things are more difficult for us to accomplish. We struggle with things that other people take for granted. However, because of the ADA, it has enabled me to, after losing my sight, return to school and acquire my master's degree. And without the ADA and the provisions that it includes for transportation, we would really be struggling with just getting from point A to point B. So the ADA, while it is not perfect and while its interpretation is lacking in many areas, it does make a big difference in the lives of people who are living without sight.
A production of the American Council of the Blind. For more information, visit www.acb.org.